already discussed with some of the things that we count on in private harvest, sales tax, income revenue, DNR revenue, our REIT revenue, and where we are with unrestricted cash. I just wanted to raise some flags for this group and especially for the commissioners, because I want us to be aware of where we are so that we can consider some alternatives should we need to. And there have been 3 instances that I'm aware of that concern me, and those are the equestrian park, the Gibbs Lake swap, and now the Laurel Grove affordable housing possibility. And in each of those, alternate decisions could have been made. As an example, with Gibbs Lake, obviously we're looking at a swap, but that means that that cut isn't going to happen this year. So the revenue we projected for 2010 isn't going to happen. So where are we going to make that up? And how many years down the road will it take for that to be rebid and to be cut? With the equestrian park, we can't afford our parks today, and yet we're looking at a new park which conceivably could have been sold for a sizable amount of money, developed in some way, and put on the tax roll so that we get recurring money. But if it goes to a park, it's off the tax rolls, and now it becomes an expenditure rather than a revenue item. And the same with potential affordable housing sites. And certainly I think it is a responsibility that we have, and maybe in better times it would be an appropriate move, but one bid I've seen for Laurel Grove is for $1. And that property is worth at least $200,000, probably more. And again, if it's developed, put on the tax rolls, then we get initial income plus we get ongoing revenue. So I would like to implore you to look at different alternatives when these situations come up, and rather just do what feels good, do what maybe is the best economically for the county.
Well, Judy, I'd like to add on, this is supposed to be where we talk about impacts of the budget, legislative impacts, and so I found out about this because of a newspaper article in the Leader and the PDN. And so in the article in the Leader, it says that because of the silent alder unit 1 and 2, the county is going to lose $243,000, which is 75%. Now I have a call into state DNR, the Susan, her last name I can't pronounce, to try to understand this. If in this paper it says we're going to lose $243,000, is part of that $243,000, is it schools and fire districts? Okay, when you made this decision, did you bring in the schools and the fire districts? Yes or no? Yes?
So, let me, and I won't go into a whole lot.
I have more detail that I want to go into.
Okay. On the Gibbs Lake, both side lake transaction, number one, with the, you can't be sure actually what the 2010 revenue impacts, if any, are of what's in play there right now, because when DNR lets these timber sales out, it's for a multi-year period, and the revenue comes in when the harvest happens. And currently, we're just starting to climb out of what has been historically low market. And typically, oftentimes what you'll see a timber firm do is they'll try to, if it's a rising market, they'll try to cut late in the 2 to 3 year period that they have. So, but still, the point is valid in terms of, well, what does that do to our future revenue stream? So I've done some analysis on that as well. What we're trying to put in place, and it's still, and I'll look to Commissioner Austin, who has been very involved with DNR on this, to fill in where I may leave things out. But, what's trying to be put in place is to rather than have this be a something that reverts simply back to the county, that it goes through basically some shifting tiles here of land, so that ultimately it can go into the trust land transfer program. What we're seeing with that is, while revenue, and what that would do is basically is keep the county and our taxing districts whole. They would still get timber revenue off of a different parcel under a trust land transfer. If you look at what that delay may mean is, in the immediate years, yes, that may mean some money that we would have gotten in 2011 or 12 that we might not see. But in that time as well, if one were to see the timber prices, which are going up, to continue to do so, who knows what I picked just for modeling purposes. I took a look at a 10-year average of what they've been through prior downturns, and did a 10-year average, and said, okay, well, if 3 or 4 years from now the price is back to what it was, what it's been over the last 10 years on average, what would that be? We'd see actually an 80% increase in revenue off of that. That would be split between the general fund, the road, conservation futures, and the junior taxing districts. The impact, so, it's hard to say as we sit here. It may actually be to our financial benefit.
Okay, so since the information's never been shared, again, from the leader, it's tough to find land of equal value in East Jefferson County, similar type, not just acreage, Sanders said, so he's from DNR. So anyway, I know I haven't quite figured out the trust land transfer program. I know we do have some property in that's for whatever reason. But do you know what the silent alder cut was gonna go for?
The minimum bid for the whole thing was just over $1 million.
That was in February, it was $1,031,000. In April, it was at 1.2 million, which 75% of that is $933,750.
Well, like 75%.
Because that's what the article said, and the lady hasn't come back from DNR yet. So I don't know of this $973,000, which however long it took to cut, because the bid should have gone out in February. February 24th, starting at 10 a.m. was the beginning of the silent alder. It got pulled. Now it's totally withdrawn. My question was, are the schools and are the fire districts aware that they're not going to be getting this money either?
Actually, the whole cut is not being withdrawn. What's happened is they've separated out the 2 parcels that are by Gibbs and both side lakes, and they're putting the rest back on. It's a two.
Okay, when will that happen? When will I see that on the sale auction?
It is a 2-month. My understanding is it's a 2-month delay. And in talking with people in the industry, at this time of year, that is viewed as inconsequential in terms of what would actually be harvested potentially, if any, this year.
Right, because this thing has to be completed by October 31st, 2011, seems to be the expiration date. Mind you, I don't normally get into stuff like this, except when I can't get answers.
But Don,